chosen one. You're the chosen one.
To another episode of Steady Mobbin Podcast.
Yeah.
We have a special guest, a legendary DJ.
Yes, sir.
Who's traveled the world, who's been on the road before there were roads, making noise since the mid-90s.
Them times.
This man's a legend. I don't care if he doesn't like it or likes it. I'm calling him a legend. In the building, we got DJ Ricochet.
Yes, sir.
Love mercy.
I don't know if it's DJ Ricochet anymore. Probably just Ricochet these days.
Fine. How
Not
about
as much DJing, but
Why don't we just create our own record, our fucking radio station? Like, how hard is it to do it?
Yeah, that's gonna cost you like $10 million.
10 million?
Yeah, we're
So
not doing that.
so I'm like really I'm like a nerd, and all I do is just read and research. And for some odd reason, I was reading online that it's like $1,500 to get the FM, like just to get on the FM airwaves. It's like 1,500 Canadian per year, and then from there, it's like you got to find out. Break it down to me. What do you mean 10 million? Like legit? Like
Yeah, 10 million, man. You need to get a transmitter space. You need to build out your studio. It's not cheap.
So the transmitter on its own, how much are those?
You're asking you're asking the wrong person. But I just know.
Is radio, sorry to cut you off. Is radio like relevant now? Like,
It is. It absolutely is relevant.
I would say so.
It's super relevant, dude. It's super relevant.
Really?
Have you been on traffic in Toronto?
It's like if I'm listening to my Spotify playlist, at some point in time I want to
turn
tap
it off.
out of
Yeah,
that and
hell
like
yeah.
you said, in traffic and hear what's going on in the city.
That's right.
Yeah, but then people listen to that for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, but I think that's the goal. Is like, can you get your listener to tune in for 15 minutes? The most in radio, they say, it could be slightly wrong in this, but in radio they say the average listener, it's a 15-minute window. So
Really?
you're not gonna you're gonna go to your Spotify. You might go to the news channel. You might go to 590. Then you might go back to the
because I
hip-hop
always thought
station.
the goal was to have the listener listen long enough to hear the ads.
Yeah, that's the goal. 100%, that's the goal. But the average listener is listening in 15-minute windows. Could be a little bit longer.
and
Could be a
you'll
little
get
bit
and you'll get an ad in there in that 15
You would hope
minutes.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. DJ Ricochet. I kind of want to get to the mess.
No, hold on. Before you get into that, real quick.
The mess-
What's the
the
difference?
mess already?
I know it's wild, son. You wild. You wild. Drink some water. Yo, somebody get some water. Somebody get some water. Somebody give him some water. You wild.
This guy don't want me to shine.
You wild, son. You wild,
He
son.
doesn't want me to be great.
You wild, son. Hey, brother. What I want to ask is, I wanted to get more in depth about like the whole radio situation.
All right.
So break it down to me. Do you know the difference between FM and AM?
The technical differences?
Sure.
Now that you mention it,
There's a lot of talking
I'm kind of embarrassed that no, I don't. I know it has to do with the frequency, obviously.
Sure.
But I don't know what the technicality of it is. No. You can explain it to me?
No, I honestly,
you asked the question like you already knew what it was.
No, I wanted to know. That's hilarious. I give that vibe off.
I was
Yeah,
so
it's
impressed. I was
crazy.
about to be so impressed.
No, I genuinely wanted to pick your brain, and maybe you knew about it.
Well, it definitely has to do with sonics, right? Like you tune into an AM frequency and it doesn't sound as well as an FM frequency. I don't know what that even stands for, to be honest with you, but I think it has to do with the way the frequency is sent out.
I agree. That's what I
could
would
be
have said.
slightly wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you go to school for this?
I dropped out after like the first year.
Oh, so you broke some doors to get in.
What do you mean break some doors?
Like you dropped out of school, and now here you are. You're like literally.
Yeah, because experience outweighs education at times, right?
Talk about your experience. Like how did you know? When did you know that you wanted to do this?
Like radio?
Yeah, or like was it radio or like
this in general?
Yeah.
This is probably a story I tell every single time I come on.
Come on now.
But no cap, I was probably like 11 years old. Y'all remember Electric Circus?
Of course.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm watching Electric Circus one day, and the DJ's there, and all these bitches were like on the DJ. I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's what's up!" Like this guy he's a guy, you know what I mean? So, and so I was like, "Fuck that,
That's
man! I want
wild,
to do
sir.
this." So like, I used to get an allowance. I was blessed enough to get an allowance. I think it was like $5 a day. With that, I was supposed to buy my bus tickets to get to school, lunch, whatever. And I just used to save that up and then bought some turntables. And then it was like, and actually, funny story is like I had enough for one turntable. My mom and my brother cooked up the next turntable and the mixer, and because it was my brother who was like 8 years older than me, was like pushing it to my mom, like, this is gonna keep him in the house. You know what I mean? And at that time, I think I already got in some situations in like grade 7.
Hold on. Your mom supported?
Yeah.
What's
I'm East Indian. I'm East Indian.
Oh, you're East Indian.
And they supported you drop. Hold on a second. Your mom is special then.
Yeah, man. My mom, they came here like mad early, right? They came here like 72, 73. So my mom was like liberal. Like she wasn't not a typical Punjabi woman. Yeah.
Wow. And the way she looked at it is great because she's seen it as a way to keep you out of trouble.
Yeah. You know, you go outside, like, you already know what happens when you go outside.
Which part of the city are you from?
Keelan Shepherd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think in the greater scale of things, it was funny because you're like, it was on Kill somewhere in the Rex.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but not on that side. Not on that side.
Nah, I think like sometimes we all get grouped in as like the Jane and Finch community. There's that corridor from Jane and Finch to Jane and Shepherd, Keelan Shepherd to Keelan Finch. That's kind of like we all go to the same schools and hang out in the same places.
Wow.
But yeah, Keelan Shepherd.
So she must be really proud to see, you know.
My mom's?
Yeah, to see what you've turned it into.
You know, I don't think she was proud until, I think she thought I was like selling dope. You know what I mean? Because like people come to the door in the apartment building for mixtapes, and I would go outside. It's like a dope transaction, right?
Wow.
You sell a mixtape, you get money, and I had money. I had money at like 15, 16.
Wow.
And I didn't have a job, so I think she thought, and I think they kind of thought that until probably until I started touring with CP. I think they thought that, because then they were like, "Yo, you're going to Albania and they're paying you." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I've been trying to tell you, I've been doing this for fucking 10 years. What you mean?" Like, you know what I mean?
And for y'all who don't know, he started with the infamous Ill Kids, right?
Ill Kids, yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's legendary. Oh, my God. Did you see their logo?
I remember the logo, dude.
It's
With
funny
the white gerber baby with the spliff?
Yo.
It's funny that you remember the spliff.
I remember the
Because the
spliff.
spliff got removed years later.
Really?
Yeah, because people
would
be
have
like,
to.
"Yo, y'all too." Because remember, we're coming up in a time where,
Damn, son.
like, we never thought of ourselves as DJs. Like, and I think we were saying this when we were listening to the Mob record. It's like, fuck it. Like, we might not rap, but we're doing the same
Street,
shit. We're living the same shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we DJ, so I'm not like, we're fucking rap stars in our heads, right?
Yeah.
So
And back then in the 90s, like, smoking marijuana was taboo.
it's taboo, right? That's crazy.
Not really. I mean,
It's still against the law, and the feds are
You're
gonna give you a hard time.
too young to even know this. I'm telling you. It's just
Well,
now.
when we say taboo, like, what are we saying? Like, it was frowned
We're
upon?
saying, yeah, it was frowned upon. It was
Come on.
No, by
That's right.
mainstream, because like you're at this, like you're doing this thing, right? And for the higher ups, right, to see a logo with a baby with a spliff, they're like, no, that represents the streets.
Okay, now
To
I
the
didn't think about it.
streets,
Now that you're like, it was a baby with a split.
Yeah, it was a baby with a
Yeah,
spliff.
you're right. Maybe
you know
not,
what I mean?
Maybe not
And
politically
you gotta
correct.
remember, like, we're talking about marijuana, like, probably just within the last, what would you say, 8 years? You know, people are kind of
Definitely since legalization. And
yeah. You know, it's medicinal. There's like, nobody's ever died from marijuana use from what I have.
Unless you got high and did some dumb shit.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I saw that. Actually, I want to correct that, and anybody could fact check me. All the people watch this shit on a tangent. There was a kid who died off of marijuana overdose.
One case
recently in the last 6 months.
I read that. Off edibles, right?
Yeah, off edibles.
One case out of how many?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean shit, but we're talking about the 90s, right? So
I don't know if that's 100% factual either, but that's for another story. It's another
Exactly.
debate.
So you're selling mixtapes, you drop out of school, your mom's.
I dropped out of college.
Oh, college.
Not dropped out of high school.
Okay.
No, he's Punjabi. He had to make it through.
Nah, I mean...
I love my
it would have
Punjabis,
been,
though.
it would have been whatever it was gonna be, but like nah. Like I realized like the lead what I'm gonna do, and it wasn't even about finishing school, it was about having the mentality of not giving up.
Yeah.
If you drop out of school, that's the first time you're quitting something. So how are you gonna do anything else? You gotta stick to the script.
That's right.
You gotta stick with something. If I started something when I was fucking 4 years old, and I'm a couple years away from finishing the shit, because most of us, you know, if we're dropping out, all the homies drop out like 10, grade 10, 11. You know what I mean? And just start, and you're fucking hanging around school every single day anyways.
Yeah.
So my mentality is like, fuck
Go to
it.
class.
You know what it was? Because the homies that dropped out of high school, when we were all going to class after lunch, they look mad, like sad and lonely. And I'm like, I ain't doing that.
So what was that moment? Like you're in college. What school did you go to?
High school?
No, college.
High school, Seneca at York for broadcasting.
So
Yeah.
you had a moment where you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this.
It wasn't
What was that
even
moment?
that. Nah, it was not even that. It was like, if I'm being completely honest, by college, not trying to be cocky or anything, I was already lit. Like I was already touring. I had bread. And I remember what happened. It was like an assignment where I had to go interview somebody in the business. So I go to interview Funk Flex.
Ooh.
Not Funk Flex, sorry, Farley Flex.
Ooh.
Farley Flex, not Funk Flex, sorry, Farley Flex.
Who was that?
Farley Flex was very instrumental in
Farley
Maestro
Flex?
Fresh West's career.
Okay.
He was also very instrumental in Flow getting its license in the infancy of the radio station.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a pioneer.
Yeah, he's a guy.
Yeah.
He's a guy.
He's a guy.
He's a guy.
So I went to go interview him, and me and him had already known each other. Like, he had financed some of my parties when I was a teenager, like as an investor and shit. And he came to me and he's like, man, like, if I'm keeping it a buck with you, like, you don't need to go to school for this, man. Like, you're already on radio. At that time, I was already at CHRY, which is now Vibe, which is 105.5, which I'm back at now.
Big.
Congrats.
So I was already there doing a show. And like I said, already DJing, already touring. And he kind of broke it down to me. He's like, you don't need to be doing this. Like, I was like, fuck, word. And I thought about it. And then the opportunity had arisen for me and a couple homies to buy a nightclub. So I took whatever money I got from the student loan, some of the money I'd been saving, borrowed some money, and like
So-
money in the nightclub.
Yeah. Hold on. I know this is important, but hold on. On my platform, I like to teach kids or teach people, money and all that good stuff and how much it costs. Do you mind if I ask what is something like that could run you?
What, to open a nightclub?
Yes.
So at that point in time, we had walked into a nightclub that had just gone bankrupt. So it's not like we built it from the ground up. It was already existing. And I think for us to come in there and reopen the business and take it over is about $275.
What nightclub was that?
It was Karma, and then when we bought it, we changed the name to Jade over at Dixon and by the airport.
275,000.
Yeah. At that
Peep
point in
game,
time,
peep game
we're
boys.
talking about this is 2002.
Oh,
In the hotel.
peep
Remember, it was in like, it was at the
game.
International
Peep
Plaza
game.
Hotel.
you bought that?
Yeah. Not me solely, but yeah, four of us.
Yeah,
Four or five of
partners
us.
or whatever,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
still.
And how old were you at the time?
22.
Yo, that's balling, bro. Let me just that's
But it was a decision, right? It was a decision like, do I spend whatever, the rest of the money on? Because my goal was to go to Seneca, and there was a joint program at York. So it was like a mass communications degree is what you get at the end of it. So I was like, am I going to pay for 3 more years of school, or, am I going to take things into my own hands?
absolutely.
You're a smart dude.
I don't know how smart it was back then.
No,
I did some dumb
no,
shit. But yeah,
because-
that was one of my better decisions.
Because if I'm looking at this accurately, it sounds like you've never had a regular job.
No, my first regular job, like I think I worked with a homie at City Financial for like
Okay,
8 months,
you were
but that shit, I was like, fuck this.
From 14 up
No,
to-
my first like real job was Flow, and that was like 2014.
No, but you're still doing in the realm of something that you love and appreciate.
Yeah, but I'm still
you're not
employed.
regular. You're not doing like your typical 9 to 5.
No, 9 to
You've
5
never
was
done that.
never really my gig. Like I said, like as a kid, did McDonald's, later on City Financial, but that
Yeah.
was like as I got into my as I turned like 2021, it was like, nah, fuck this.
Not many people can say they've done that. Like he's worked.
I love it.
his passion
It's crazy.
for multiple decades.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to do that. Yeah, that was a blessing actually. I was thinking about that the other day.
Salute to you.
Yeah.
Okay, can we get to? Okay,
No, we're
okay,
gonna chronologize this. We're gonna call it.
Sorry,
I really wanted to because there's
Shame
other shit
and glory.
that's more cooler than
It's
that.
funny because the other day somebody had mentioned that I got fired, so it was hilarious.
So you're what's the brother's name again? The one who's the forefather of Flow 93 again?
One of the forefathers, Farley Flex. So
Farley
I go,
Flex.
So I go interview him, and he's like, "Yo," and after that, I was off that. I didn't go back to Seneca after that. I was like, "Fuck it."
So what year was that again?
2002, 2001.
So 2002, and then when were you on the radio station, like on the air regularly?
The first time?
Yeah,
When I
or
was
regularly rather.
Yeah, regularly. It was like 14, 15. Grade 10, maybe. At York University.
Wow.
Which is 105.5. We used to do a show on a Wednesday night, like some crazy shit, like 2 a.m. to 7 a.m.
I'm talking about Flow in general. Sorry.
Flow 2014.
Okay.
And that was just by a chance meeting because I had no aspirations whatsoever to be on radio. I had given that up because I had applied with Flow in the early days, but just kept getting dissed. And I think maybe it's because of that. we talked about the ill kids, the spliff, and it was that persona and that things that went along with what people thought we were, and we may have probably were too.
For sure.
We were knuckleheads or whatever. So there was definitely that. Like, we're not.
I wouldn't even go that far because I feel like, okay, and this is like, I could be completely wrong. I feel like the people in those positions don't come from where we come from, so they don't really understand the culture. Because
I don't know, because like I said, we're talking about guys like Farley Flex, but there was program directors at that point in time who, yes, definitely weren't from the streets or never, at least from my understanding.
I wouldn't necessarily see that as a bad thing. It's like, okay, we have to make some adjustments, but
now the program director, and I'll actually call names. His name was Wayne Williams. He used to be at Energy 108, and I just think he was like very
Energy 108.
He was very off put by like our demeanor. I don't think he truly understood it, or
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Wayne Williams.
No diss, Wayne, but you already know what the fuck it was.
The realist. I mean, shit. You know what I mean? And it's funny because like everything that's popular and trendy comes from the streets.
Yeah, right.
So how did you hook up with CP?
That's like, so down the road.
Because I know CP started. I'm from Ottawa, by the way.
Right. So
Ottawa, CP started
Ottawa, right?
in 2004-ish or 2003.
Really? Yeah, right. High school.
Spitfire.
High school.
I was in grade 9 when they first came out with the first single, and grade 8 rather, in Ottawa. And
was that Masari or Belly?
Masari and Belly, and their Spitfire album single. It was the first single that ever came out. When did you hook up with those guys?
So, we're talking like 2007, 2008, 2009. We start winning some awards. There was a thing called the Stylish DJ Awards. And we had won a couple awards back to back. And then I was at a video shoot for my dude Harvey Stripes.
Yep, I know who Harvey Stripes is. Another Ottawa.
My guy.
Another Ottawa guy.
My guy.
Deuce.
Deuce, right?
Come on, I'm from there, bro.
Sure,
I know those dudes.
And then Cash was there.
Shout out to Cash.
Shout out to Cash.
Cash, he makes dreams come true.
Yes.
That guy makes dreams come true.
Cash, yes, 100%. Cash he makes shit happen. 100%. I got to shout out Cash.
I've always heard good things about him.
He's from Ottawa. He's an Ottawa cat. He makes dreams come true.
Yeah. So
Make
Cash,
our dream come true, Cash.
So Cash had approached me and he's like, man, you should come around. We should talk. And then I had a meeting with him and Sal, and there was talks about like us coming under the camp because I guess they were from Ottawa or Toronto. It just made sense to connect. At that point in time, I think they were here in Toronto, based out of Toronto at that point in time. And I mean, it just it felt real organic. Like I said at first, I think we were talking about putting out an album, but it's crazy. My partner didn't show up for the meeting. And
damn, son,
we were living a wild life them times, right? So like I think we were DJing like 6 nights a week.
Hold on a second. When you say partner,
I had a partner in Ill Kids, Juice. No disrespect, Juice. You know the story.
Trust me, I'm from Mississauga, so I've always heard about.
Yeah, so you know what it is.
Juice and AZ.
Yeah, Juice and AZ.
So Juice didn't show up.
Yeah, at that point in time, it was just me and Juice. AZ had exited the picture. Shit was like maybe getting too much, or yeah, we were getting in some beefs and some jail time for certain people.
Yeah,
so so he had took off and it was just me and Juice, and this opportunity came up, but Juice didn't come to the meeting. So we're like, all right, let's try another meeting. Then he didn't come to the other meeting.
Oh wow!
So then the whole album kind of vibe changed to like, why don't you just come in and be the DJ?
Do it yourself.
Just be the in-house DJ for the squad. And I'm like, yeah, fuck, that sounds good, man. At that point in time, we're talking Belly. Belly is the biggest thing to come out of Canada other than Drake, right? This is a guy that came from Ottawa, and these guys came into Toronto moving super heavy with Apple, right? Like, they linked with Apple in the early days, and man, they were pushing up in Rolls Royces and shit. Yeah. Like, I was like, yo, these guys are
Juice must have been going through some shit because pre-Drake blow-up pitch, Belly was the guy, and he kind of came out of nowhere because I remember hearing rumors about his family owning gas stations. He had his own studio.
Well, his dad was like a G, and maybe you could, co-sign that.
Belly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, he was like,
it is true.
Flexing on a level that we have never seen before.
If you listen to the lyrics,
because they're coming from Arab countries, Belly's Palestinian, Sal's from Lebanon. It's not like those guys come from big money. Like, they come from humble beginnings, right? And I think that I attribute a lot to Sal, who is like
another guy who can make your dreams come true.
He's like one of the most important people in music, right?
He's the most important. Yeah, literally, he's the most. These names that we're dropping. Sal. Can I say it? Can I say who he manages? Like he manages. The guy manages The Weeknd.
Yeah,
he manages Doja Cat. I think he manages BB Rexa.
Yeah.
He manages like Nav. I think the other guy. What's his name? Cash manages Nav. But Sal manages The Weeknd. Doja
Well, that's all
Cat,
the same
and BB
family
Rexa.
that's managing.
Yeah, it's all. It's
It's
like
just splitting up duties.
Yeah, exactly.
Who does what? But that's all the same family.
Yeah.
But
those guys who make dreams happen, dude.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I'm just having like a nostalgic moment because I remember people talking about Belly and just kind of using the fact that he was, I guess, rich against him, right? Because they're basically saying that
makes no sense.
It makes zero sense
you don't
because
look at a D-boy and be like, you're rich, and be like, what
because they're saying like it's daddy's money.
I
That's
think that was I think that's a big misconception that Toronto people thought because they were coming from Ottawa, and we thought everybody from Ottawa might have been sweet or something.
Yeah, but until you actually go there and spend a weekend or two.
Yeah.
It's not sweet. It's the same thing. It's. I consider it as a giant Mississauga or a giant Scarborough. It's like one big Scarborough, one big
giant Mississauga kind of.
Yeah. It's a giant Mississauga vibe there. It's just there's Haitians out there. There's a lot of Jamaicans out there. There's a lot of Somalis and a lot of Arabs.
Yeah.
But majority is Haitian and Arabs out there.
And it's funny because I remember seeing Belly and I was so like confused. I seen him in Mississauga at a walking clinic on Queensway in here, Ontario, and I had to do a double. Like, is that Belly in this walking clinic?
So,
wait, hold on a second. Did he live in Mississauga?
Yeah, they lived like I think I can say it now because they don't live there anymore. But they lived like right by Duke of York, like right there by Square One.
So it wasn't the drugs that had me tripping. I did see him because I'm like, what the?
What drugs were you on that day?
What was the drug of choice that day?
Aspirin and some Crown Royale and some other. Okay, so CP, Juice doesn't go to the meeting.
Juice doesn't go to the meeting, so now this whole album talk turns out, becoming Belly's DJ. And then me and Belly toured.
I remember them days. Yeah, I remember them days.
Yeah, and it was a perfect fit because we were all doing like mad drugs at that point in time, and I was.
Yeah, what were you doing?
I don't know, whatever. I was dabbling in Molly in the early days, like before Jay-Z put in a rap line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When it was pure. When Molly was pure.
Yeah.
The Molly was pure in Toronto in 2012.
Molly, that sand looking Molly. Better than the clean white shit because they give you, I don't whatever. But when it was pure Molly, when it was fun.
Back in 2012.
So we would, I guess we were all kind of into the same shit, all into having, like, I wasn't a square by any means. If we were partying, I'm like, let's go.
You were knocking them down, though. Not the Mollies, but...
Knocking the bitches down?
Yeah.
My numbers are all right. Nah, you know what, though? I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I never let pussy get in the way of money. And I always felt like my guys, whoever, like, were always chasing pussy, were distracted from the bag. And nothing has distracted me from my bag. Like, nothing. Like, the most important thing, you come up watching your parents work double shifts. As immigrants who don't speak the language or whatever, come here and you're like, nah, fuck that. Like, that's going to change when my kids are here.
I feel like a lot of niggas don't have that level of discipline because I've seen it over and over.
What's the difference between pussy and crack?
Absolutely nothing.
Right? They're both addictive as fuck.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, now, if there's a bag, obviously the smart choice is the bag. But I feel like a lot of dudes pick the pussy, and it just never made sense to me. And
I was shy too when I was like in my teens a little bit. Like I think I definitely put on like a little bit of a mask or persona to get out of that shyness.
Yeah.
So before we started the podcast, you said Romania was your place, like your favorite place.
Yeah.
With else was your favorite place to go? With CP and Belly and the whole crew.
Man, all the Eastern Europe, Albania is dope. It's not a place you would think about, but Albania is beautiful. Women are beautiful. Vibes are dope. Albania, Albania, Romania, Hungary. But like surprisingly, man, Newfoundland is my favorite place.
Okay, hold on a second. So Shea Room Glory is going to come out again. What makes those places dope?
I'll let you use your head.
Well, let's think about it, right? Growing up in Killing Shepherd, you never think. What made it dope for me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna say bitches and alcohol and whatever.
Blonde hair, blue eyed girls exotic to you, kind of thing. Like
yeah, definitely. There's a white girl fetish for sure.
Right? They're exotic, right?
Well, I mean, they're exotic because fucking colonialism. So I'm like, I'm gonna get one back. No disrespect to the white girl, but fuck, you're paying for your ancestors' problems.
Ricochet loved the slave master's daughters.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't know.
I mean, I don't hate that.
Like
it's
not
real.
even like women. It's just like you come from the hood and you're like I never thought like, and it was crazy because my dad was driving me to the airport, and I could tell he's like, "Oh, so they're paying you? You're going to like where?" I'm like Bucharest. He's like, "Fuck."
I can't pronounce that word.
He's like Bucharest, and I could tell that he was like taking it in as he's driving. It's like 4:30 in the morning. He's like, "Fuck."
I'm gonna live through you, son.
I might have thought because my dad wasn't down with this whole shit. My dad wasn't down with it. My mom was supported it. My dad wasn't down with it. But I think at that point in time, he's like, "Man, fuck, good for you," because he worked hard, right? And he's seeing me enjoy when I'm like partying and getting paid. Mm-hmm. So I think the idea of going to these places and that you never thought that you belong. You know, that was the beautiful part of it. But Newfoundland is just such a fucking special place, such a welcoming place. Yeah, bro. People invite you to their house. Like, I remember I had a hotel booked. They're like, "Nah, fucking come sleep at my house." I was like,
no.
I did that shit. I was like,
you really slept at their house?
Yeah, I slept at their house.
And I feel like
not like it was a trap house or anything.
Like those parts of Canada, like when you say you're from Toronto, like they can see it, they can hear it, and it's almost like there's this aura around you.
Yo, funny story. I went there for the first or second time, and I was like, you know, whatever. It was the Wiz Khalifa swag. You remember that swag?
Oh, yeah.
So I was like with the chucks and everything, and I came back a month and a half later, and the promo was like, "Wow, watch when you get to the show." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Everybody's dressing like you." I was like, "Fuck out of here, word." But then it was like a couple of dudes
hilarious.
Who had like little plaid flannel with the whatever graphic tee with the beige whatever it was, you know.
We're talking, what, 2010? Was it
2010, 2011. That whole Wiz Khalifa, the Cushion OJ,
So, but hold on. Well, okay, what happened between 2002 and 2009?
2002 and 2009. So we owned the club. This is far past the 90s. In the 90s, we already made a name for ourselves doing a lot of like, you know, it's funny because we were like, I came up in the dance hall scene. That's where I like put in my work. You know, we were the hip hop DJs in the dance hall scene that got that 15-minute set. And if you can be like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old Indian kid in a dance hall banquet hall on a Wednesday night, like Monday Night Mucky or fucking some of these places, Joe Bananas or some of these places, if you can survive that, I'm not scared of nothing after that. You know what I mean? There's pure moshing in the building in times. It was a different era, right? So it's like we did that. Things started building up. We started playing out. We started, you know, doing big gigs. And then, like I said, we bought the club and we ran that for a little bit. And then just touring happened. Before CP, we were touring Canada, a couple places in the U.S. as Ill Kids. And we just had our run. Like we had our nightclub. We were DJing other nightclubs, probably 5-6 nights a week. There was a lot of money going around. We used to put a bus on the road for Caravana. We were like,
so you were making money
like
in the 90s from DJing, being from Canada?
Hell yeah, of course.
I didn't even think
we
that
was
was
parties.
Let's give a shot for that. Let's give a shot for that.
People pay $15 to get in a party. Somebody gotta get, you know.
Let's give a shot for that. That deserves a shot right there, man.
No, that needs a couple sound effects. That needs a clue. That needs a flex. DJ Funk Flex. Not that one. Whatever else is going on there. Press everything. That is big.
Yeah, so it was a DJ run. It was radio. I think I stopped radio.
You can pull the shots or what?
I mean, we have a good flow going. I mean,
I gotta give him a shot for all that.
The
Matt owned the club at 22. You don't like what kind of guys?
Didn't last long, but
how long was that?
2.5 years.
2.5. But it's impressive.
Yeah.
Do clubs generally last long? Or?
Yeah, some of them. We were just in a situation where the landlord was the Hilton. Ooh. So International Plaza was being sold to the Hilton, and they just didn't want a bunch of motherfuckers hanging around outside the hotel. Like that place was crazy, bro. We used to have crazy parties over there, like 2,000 people at a hotel. Imagine you just checked in and you see a bunch of motherfuckers balling up in the parking lot, like crazy shit happening, lineups and shit. Yeah, Karma was, you know, well, more so Jade on our run, but yeah, I was at Karma as well.
Wow.
I remember Jade. What's your favorite club today in Toronto? Do you go out? Do
I go out?
Yeah.
Not if I'm not getting paid. Very rarely will I go out. Like I might go to like a Junior Jones. So I might go to somewhere like if I'm going out, I would like to go out to like where I'm seeing people I came up with. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, today's club scene it's interesting.
Are DJs, I guess for lack of a better term, relevant nowadays?
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, hell yeah. Like in what aspect?
And breaking records and you know, do people
no, because people break records themselves, right? People discover music all kinds of different ways, probably before a DJ plays it, but a DJ is going to support that and reiterate that and like cement it in your head. You know, I think like a DJ is the one who's picking whatever the hottest record is going to be off of like Drake and 21's album, right? Because there's no official single yet. So we're out there picking the records. And right now it seems to be like Rich Flex,
It's not the other way around, like the people.
Well, but I mean, from what I know, they haven't released a single yet.
No, they haven't.
Right, so we're out there picking the ones that we're gonna play and we're gonna get behind. Like I said, right now it's crazy because last night Rich Flex was the shit that went off, the biggest record in the club last night.
And what club was that?
44. So if you're asking me what my favorite club is, if I was to go out, it would be 44.
44?
Like, yeah, it brings that Las Vegas, Miami vibe to Toronto.
And with your DJ acronym, I hope I'm saying that right.
I'm more so an MC these days. I'm more so the motherfucker yelling on the mic, you know, working with the DJ. I like when like I said, I stopped DJing a little while ago. But like when I work with somebody, it's like it's a collaborative effort. Like you're the DJ, I'm the MC. I kind of know a little bit of what I'm talking about, and I can understand the crowd. So I'll communicate with the DJs. A lot of time we'll work together, and I like to talk my shit too. So
because I was gonna ask you, Drake and 21, like if there was a record you could choose that would get
my favorite record is Circo Lingo, or like I said, Rich Flex, and I think it's because the memes with like 21. I think that went viral for whatever reason online. Right?
Absolutely.
Cheers again. Cheers again. Cheers again.
That went viral online, so it gets a big response in the club.
Do you have a TikTok presence?
Fuck TikTok. I can't do it, man. I feel corny doing that shit.
I know.
But I realize now I don't have to do corny shit. Like, I could just recap whatever I did this weekend. To be honest with you, my social media presence could be bigger, man, because I think you could, attest for this. Like, we came up in an era where there wasn't social media. There was, like, the internet was barely popping.
You're Mr. Toronto, though. Like, you're Mr. Toronto.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You were live on in 2014.
On Flow, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just a chance meeting. I was managing a nightclub called Luxy.
Yeah, okay. Luxy was a cool place.
Yeah, I did that for like 5 years. Funny, because when I came in there, it was a different vibe. They were doing like the Vaughn Z103 kind of, you know what I mean? And then the owner had approached me. He's like, listen, like, I want to switch. And I think, we can make it happen together. So we went into like, the hip hop world, the dance hall, soca events. And
it sucks they shut down recently. Was it the same owner?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I asked this question. How'd you get to Flow? Like, I remember you saying you were applying.
So I kept applying, and I was like, I think that's what we were talking about. And like eventually I was like, fuck this. I'm getting bread. I'm making more bread than whatever's happening over there anyway.
And this was CP?
CP, before CP, throughout that whole era. So I had forgotten about all that. And then I started managing Luxy, and I brought in the homie Mastermind.
Oh, shit.
Shout out to Mastermind.
Dropping names.
Bro, man. You already know. He knows what it is. I'm sure he'd be down to do it. I brought him in, and randomly we were talking one night, and he's like, yo, I'm looking for like a weekend host. Do you know anybody? I'm like, man, fuck, I went to school for radio, man. Like, I did radio like for a better part of my life. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, would you be? I'm like, you know what? At that point in time, I started thinking about settling down because life was getting a little crazy around between 2009 and 2017. Like a lot of drugs,
feel like,
a lot of alcoholism,
Toronto
a lot of
that's what you said.
Not sleeping, just partying all the time. Shit was just getting wild. Like a lot of
booty crest bitches, all of that.
Yeah, and a lot of my homies were getting locked up. A lot of street shit was going on. It was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
And I kind of like got to the breaking point. And I was like, fuck. It's been like 20 years, 25 years. I need to slow down a little bit. So taking a job at Luxy kind of put the brakes on touring. Not as much because I was still touring, but it was like something stable, something where I could be home a little bit more.
Got it.
So anyways, talked to the homie Mastermind. He's like, bomb, put in a demo. I put in the demo right away. He's like, all right, you got the job if you want it. And it was technically kind of like my first job since I was a teenager.
That saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Facts. Definitely everything. My whole career is based off of relationships.
Holy shit!
If you're a likable person and you make people feel good and you can hold a relationship and you're not a fucking asshole, you're gonna tend to the bag is gonna find you.
And that's crazy because with your resume, like you should be a shoo-in. You should be able to apply and people be like, holy shit, Ricochets. But it took Mastermind to kind of.
I'm sure if I like. I'm a good, like, jock, radio jock. So I'm sure if I applied, they would have heard it and probably been like, I can't see anybody better than me that was at that point in time that would be able to do that job.
But you said you kept applying and...
Because half of the hosts in the station, like not half, but some of the hosts were mad corny, didn't fit the culture, didn't know anything about the culture, wasn't part of the culture. That was always a big problem for me, is when Flow became a more corporate entity with...
What year was that?
I think it was like 2008, 2009. The original owner sold to like Bell or Chorus or some shit. And by the time I fuck with it, it was New Cat Media. And I just felt like they didn't understand the culture.
Yes.
And it was just like, I'm listening to somebody on this station. I'm like, you have no fucking business being on the station. You don't know nothing. Like, I remember one time one of the jocks, some old white lady was like, yo, I love like Gucci Mane. I'm like, who? Because there's an E at the end. She's like, Gucci Mane. I'm like, it's Gucci Man or Gucci Mane if you want to say that, right? And I was like, man, this is fucking horrible.
And that's what I meant earlier when I said, like, they don't understand the culture because they saw the Ill Kids logo and then they took
at the time I came there, it was far removed from that. The Ill Kids was pretty much no longer.
What I'm saying, just like in general, the higher-ups don't come from that. So
I just think they're just thinking, let's get a good radio person. And in Canada, as a colored person that's in the culture, there's no opportunities for you. So why would you even go to school for radio if you're trying to do hip hop? Because there is no hip hop in Canada as far as radio and media goes.
Woo!
Right? It doesn't exist. Flow, even in its iteration of what it is now, is the only commercial hip hop station in the country. And if I'm being completely honest, and no disrespect to anybody over there, but if I'm keeping it a buck, it sucks. It doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I'm not going to front.
There's no
the
proper
radio
management there. There's no proper structure or infrastructure. There's some good people over there. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. There's good hosts there. There's good people there. There's people that are part of the culture there. It's more so about the culture now than it has been in a long time, but the product sucks. Overall product.
Going further, the every hour they have like a news
like a robot or something, right? Like AI.
It's an AI that
used to be.
Yeah, it's an AI that they purchase off of Fiverr. It's literally, you go to Fiverr.com. It's not
just type in the shit and
type in what you need, and a voice comes up, and it's exactly how it is. And they pay like $10 for that. That's how they cut quarters, dude. They cut quarters like that.
Okay, you worked at Flow.
Yeah.
That comes to an end.
They decide to flip the station to some like bare naked lady shit or some shit.
Yo, that was the most terrifying day of my life, man.
Let's be honest though, at that point in time, I was done, man. I was so like not happy listening to fucking Lil Nas X and what you know about deep in the ocean. I'm like, this is whack.
Yeah,
I wasn't proud of what was coming out of the speakers.
So
it didn't represent me.
Yeah,
there was rumblings. I already knew what was coming before it came. I already knew it was coming. Yeah, like I knew this shit was coming. I'm like, this is coming to an end. So
they sent you an email, and
when it all came down to it, there was like a meeting. I'm like, bro, I already knew what the fuck was popping. I'm like, I already planned 2 steps ahead. I'm good.
Got it. And you Just Red.
Yeah.
Did she work? Me
and her never really worked together. No, she was part of Flow at one point in time, and then she was at G97.
Okay, got it. So.
Does she own that club in Mississauga?
No.
I feel like she has interest.
So you find out, you knew it was coming, whatever. What was your initial feeling?
Thank you, because I wasn't gonna say no to the money. It felt like easy money. It was, a good little base of money that was there for me to be able to do everything else I was doing, because not at any one point am I looking at one income stream as my fucking income. You know what I mean? Like, I have multiple income streams. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to afford a certain lifestyle.
Wow.
And I like nice shit. So
I'm looking at your glasses. Those are dope. Are those the Dahmer glasses?
No, these ain't the Dahmer glasses. I do like Dahmer type of glasses, though.
Stop it with your fascination about that shit.
Fucking glasses.
No, those
Dahmer, fire for that.
No, stop. Dahmer didn't make the glasses.
I don't care. No reference to the man.
He's like, Dahmer used to wear Air Force Ones. I'm not going to buy Air Force Ones.
I won't. If I find out he wore those fucking Air Force Ones, I'm not wearing Air Force Ones again.
Those glasses. Like,
God
those are legit.
Damn.
See, I'm a glass man, bro.
I am traumatized. That man traumatized me. I'm sorry.
I'm looking at those. And
It's a Japanese brand called Mujosh, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta get a pair.
So you said you're East Indian, right?
Yeah.
Where in East India are you guys from? Like where? Like India?
My parents are from Punjab.
Punjab. Yeah. Cool. So you speak 2 languages or just still English?
I mean, I can understand somebody talking to me. Me communicating back, I probably sound like a white guy trying to speak.
Yeah, they make fun of you.
Yeah, they definitely make fun of me.
That's the word.
I get confused for Guyanese a lot.
Yeah.
To go back to Flow, like, how long were you at Flow for?
From 2014 to the beginning of this year.
Holy shit. Okay, I'm tipsy. What's the math on that? 6, 7?
Yeah, like 6,
years?
7 years.
So, like, was it a decent place to work in? Were you?
There was always something like it always kind of bothered me to walk into a boardroom with a bunch of middle-aged Caucasian men making decisions about something that I spent my whole life.
How do they dress?
Being part of. No, but it's like, and it didn't have to be white folks. Could have been anybody, but just like it felt ways.
It's white folks, dude. Come on now.
Nah, man, it could have been anybody at that matter. For me, what it was is people dictating to me about what the culture is, and you're not a part of the culture. So that is bothersome to me, but that is also what hip hop is, almost to a point, is people who are not really part of the culture at some step of the ladder dictating the culture, right?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
So that was bothersome to me, but it was like, at least I got a platform. So what the greatest thing, the thing that attracted me to Flow was I was able to do a show called The Made in Toronto Takeover.
Yes.
So that, like,
that was
when
really
they told me we were doing this, I was like, bet, I'm in. Because whatever, if I got to do 4 hours of Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow, at least I got to do my 1 hour of everybody out of Toronto, which has been like a real important part of my life.
So my question is, what would it take to have people that look like us, that come from where we come from, to be in those positions? No, because right now, like,
you gotta
there
ask
needs to
Mr.
be a
Farrakhan about
shift.
that.
There needs to be a shift.
I don't fucking know, man.
You don't know?
I don't got the answers.
No.
Sway got the answers.
Is it support? Is it money?
Sway got the answers. I don't fucking know, man.
Sway was right, by the way.
He was right.
Sway was right.
He was right. I don't know, man. What's it going to take? It's going to take somebody
Unity,
at the base level to say, I got $20 million.
Because it's crazy, right? Because when you think about it, like, this is our culture. But yet, someone who doesn't come from where we come from is running the show.
Yeah, but it's time to break those ideas of and I hate to say this because I'm on radio, but where I'm at now is kind of like for us, by us. I'm at Vibe 105 now, and it's a breath of fresh air because when I walk in a room, it's like a guy that's been there for 20 years running the whole fucking thing. It's mastermind. It's like a DJ. It's like,
look into the camera.
Yo.
Because we need... There we go. We start with that.
What we start
People
with?
need to check into, what's it,
Vibe 105, man.
There you go.
Vibe 105. The signal strength...
They're for the people.
It's for the people, by the people, man.
There you go.
It's a
So what do you mean by
not-for-profit
signal?
kind of situation.
What do you mean the
Signal strength is like, it's not, and it's crazy, right? Because a hip hop station, soca, dancehall, and the limitations of the strength of the signal is limited. So it can only be, the signal strength can only be so strong before the CRTC says, okay, that's where you guys are capped.
So why can't I hear the Buffalo station?
You can't hear the Buffalo station.
I can hear the Buffalo station
not anymore.
For real?
Yeah. When's the last time you tried to tap in?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question.
93.5 up there, signal strength, and just block that. It's so it's like, WBOK, you can't even tap in because Flow, whatever it's called now, they basically, it's crazy because they waited for the hip hop station to be done and then upped their signal strength and made the shit stronger and HD radio and blah, but that killed the BLK signal for most.
If I got tired of the pop, I'm not, on some stations. If I got tired of the pop, I tap into the Buffalo station. You know what I mean? But you were on the radio when Toronto was like basically like a new baby, Yeah. And when I say new baby, Drake has already put us on the map.
It's funny because we were like, some of the first motherfuckers to fuck with Drake. Like, I got a bunch of Drake records.
From back in the day?
Yeah.
That nobody heard? That nobody heard?
Yeah.
They're on YouTube or whatever. I don't like go there and put them out on my shit for clout because I just don't feel like.
Send them to me. I'll put them out.
No, but so when I say like you were there in Toronto when it's a new baby, like when they Toronto, when Drake put on Toronto again, like who was your favorite artist aside from Tory, Drake?
What years are we talking?
I want to say 2014, 15, like through like let's start off with 2014.
He's from the streets. I already know the answers.
Well, this answer is controversial.
2014 and 15. This is going to be a great content, by the way, guys.
2014
and 15.
15.
2014
and 15. Yes, can we remember that? Can we remember that shit? That was right before the summer of 2016, which was probably the best summer in Toronto, by the way.
I mean, other than Drake and Tory, I don't know. It's hard to say at that point in time, man.
The young boys in Regent Park didn't put it on.
Like, who we talking about?
I feel like Smoke Dog. Yeah, was he on the radio back then? Like, I mean, was he having on the radio?
Yeah. No, like
was Trap House on the radio?
Yeah, well, on my show it was.
That's why I love your shit.
Those are like safe guesses. Smoke Dog, like
my mind's a little like I said last night was a
blurred.
Rough
Yeah,
so
blurred, but if you mention some names, like I'm definitely like if we go a little bit before that, and we say like in the infancy of like Drake and Tory, we talk like.
But by 2014, they weren't infants.
No, they weren't. But like before that, and the streets was like, they don't like to mention this man's name, but I was very much like into Mayhem Moriarty. I mean, Mayhem, my guy.
There we go.
Before whatever the fuck happened.
Yeah. So I always get this mixed up. Was Mayhem Moriarty?
I don't want to mention his name these days, but fuck that.
I always fuck up. Yeah. I always fuck up that situation. Well, who's the guy with the jaw?
No
with the fucked up face. No, with the fucked up face.
No comment.
I forgot his name, man.
The one who got locked up with.
Am I gonna get killed?
No, he's locked up. He's doing life.
Okay, so that's not Mayhem Moriarty, right?
Nah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I always get the two mixed up.
Right?
I always get the two mixed up. Dude, I always I know the story of this.
Out here, late night creeping.
I know. I was scared all the time, bro. I was scared all the time. I was scared shitless. Like when I heard people are getting shot for no reason on the streets. It was fucking freaky.
No, there's no shame in mentioning his name because it's a fact. He was probably one of the first artists who actually started a movement. If you're around in, I would say 07, 09, if you saw Out Here shirts, like We Out Here shirts, that's Mayhem Moriarty.
Yeah, we were out here.
Yeah, we were out here. Yeah, like he was.
Is he out? Is he out right now? I heard he's out.
He's out. I don't want to get into all of that. You can watch TVO and watch a documentary.
Let's find him. I want to interview him.
Okay.
Good luck.
Pull up.
Yeah. So you're at Vibe 105.
Please don't kill me.
Now,
everything's okay. Everything's blessed.
Oh, everything's great. I'm happy to be on the radio with like the music. Like if you ever tune into the station, the music speaks. No corny shit.
Yeah.
No whack shit. There ain't nobody who don't know nothing about the culture making decisions. We're all involved in the decision making process. It's like very dope.
So what has Ricochet got on the agenda? Because honestly, I see more than a DJ. I see a businessman.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm far removed from being a DJ. Yeah, I'm very far removed from that. And I might get back into DJing, actually.
Just for the fuck of it.
Well, no, I hear a lot of shit DJs, and I'm like, man, like, I need to fill a gap here somewhere.
Because you're a businessman. Like, you're
that's what I would consider myself, is like a businessman more so in the realm of entertainment.
So starting a label, artist development?
Artist development is next on my list.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
We need to talk.
Well, I was going to ask that question. I'm thinking about like a Punjabi rapper, man. Like, and I'm not talking about
that is going to be the guap el
guapo. I'm talking about like, I'm thinking globally.
International,
because there's a lot of people here set up to make sure that Canadian hip hop and what we know it as survives and goes forward. But I feel like now it's crazy.
We're international here.
Oh, man, it's crazy, man. Being an Indian kid in the 90s was different. Like, I'm at the club now and motherfuckers
Son, I know exactly how you feel.
Downs and Cubans. And I'm like, man, you better thank me, motherfucker. Like, I gave you that little swag. Yeah,
I feel the same way. I'm not going to front.
Yeah, so it's like, but like, it's good to see, second generation immigrants being Canadian and
I don't think you get your flowers though.
Man, whatever, man. I get myself my flowers.
I feel the same way, honestly. I'm glad that you mentioned that when you see like the young boys in the club now and they're like chilling and popping bottles and they look like boys wearing turbans with their chains on, proud. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a breath of fresh air.
It is. It just goes to say what kind of city Toronto is.
It's crazy, eh? But when Moose Walla, when he passed away,
right?
Were you into him?
It's funny because I got really into him after he passed away. Like
that's
I am not, and I will be the first one to admit, I'm not super tapped in with Punjabi music or that scene in general. But when he did pass, I started listening. I'm like, yo, it's just hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, and he was, a few times me and him spoke. or connected. He seemed like a really good dude. And
Did he know that you're Punjabi too?
Yeah.
They told him,
crazy
man.
because he's speaking Punjabi to me. And I'm like, and A.R. Paisley was like, it was a fucking.
I love A.R. Paisley.
A.R. was kind of like, you could tell I didn't know what the fuck he was saying. He was trying to translate for me.
You'll have A.R. Paisley.
Punjabi's like heavy.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the A.R. Paisley, I need him to pull up on the show. Please pull up. Please come check us out. I really want to check you.
Yeah. I got to give you your flowers because honestly, as an East Indian, doing it in the 90s, I'm sure you experienced a lot of racism from our people.
From all sides.
From all sides.
Yeah, a little bit, I guess.
I
I probably blocked it out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you
But it was definitely like, I definitely had to go extra hard
Yeah.
to pay my dues because people were like, what kind of shit are you on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where, you know, street shit got me caught up a little bit. And I think you said, all right, bet. You don't think I'm a buck? Then we'll do it. Like, we'll show what it is. Like, we're not backing down, like, you know. Absolutely. And that probably was for the worst.
Absolutely. I could talk to you for hours.
Hold on. We're not done yet. We got like a good 20 minutes. We got.
I got the shot review. I'm trying to segue to the shot review.
Hold on. I want to ask him a couple more questions. Chill, son.
Okay.
Chill. We got enough time.
Speaking of.
For all intents and purposes, DJ Snoopy's going to be a little bit late. So
Oh, y'all got Snoopy here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be hella interesting. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
What was it? 20? When did Kanye in front on you? What year was that? What year was that?
You did your research.
When did he front on you?
Oh, fuck. I don't know, man. That was probably, it was Echo Fest.
What year was that, though? Like,
I could tell you.
That was 2008? Yeah,
Yes.
G-Spot, right?
Is that when he front on you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when
Tried to.
What year was that when he was you talking about Drake at that time in 2008?
No,
Drake was into 09.
But
Drake was busting them times, but his he was starting up. But it was like
Mixtape Drake was
2008,
busting,
2007.
09
so you
was
were
like-
aggressive with Kanye back then.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
else?
he's like in my city, so you're not going to talk all like
Hell yeah.
Wassy and then just okay. I don't give a fuck who you are, man.
Yeah, fuck that. You can't front on me.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you made fucking graduation.
Yeah, it was a dope album, but-
What happened?
We were doing so it was the Mark Echo Fest concert. We were doing the after party. We're DJing the after party on Sundays at G Spot, which is like a legendary Sunday spot. All the the renames, whether it was G Spot, Frequency, Metro, whatever, like that was the spot on Sundays.
Yeah.
And we did they were doing the after party there with DJing. So like Lil Jon was in there, Usher, Ludacris. And it's a Kanye West after party. So we're DJing. We just got back from like Montreal doing a gig or whatever. And we're like, I bet we're going to wait till this guy gets here. Let him get comfortable, give him the mic. And then we're going to run through like a whole 45-minute Kanye West set. So he comes in there. And I guess now that you see the person that he is now, it obviously makes sense.
It's always been that person.
Hot already. So he might have been there like 5 minutes. And we're playing Luda records and Lil Jon records because they're in the club. And Lil Jon was hot as fuck. Especially in the club at that point in time. And
Turn up for what?
He finally gets the mic. And he's like, nah. And I'm like, yo, and I do my little intro, like, yo, show some love to Kanye. And he's like, nah, hold up. How's it a Kanye West after party and y'all playing Ludacris and Lil Jon, which is mad awkward because they're standing right beside you. You feel me? Like, fuck, like you must have some relationship with them.
How did they respond to that, those two?
I don't know. It was on the other side.
Did you look at the face?
No, I was we were by the DJ booth. I couldn't see really.
That's wild.
And he just started talking like mad brazy. And he's just like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to go across the street to the little X party with it. And I just, like the mixer's there. I'm like, nah, fuck this motherfucker, man. I just turned his volume down.
Yo.
And I said some shit like.
He said, I'm going to go next door.
Yeah, because he's dissing me. He's trying to diss me. He's like, yo, DJ. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck out of here, man. Who you talking to?
And he's like, fuck that. I'm going next door to Director X's
so I'm like, yo,
party.
Go, bro.
That's a
So I got in the mic. I'm like, yo, get the fuck on then. Like, y'all want Kanye in here dissing you in Toronto, or you want him across the street?
Fast.
So then everybody started
Get him out of
like,
here.
you know how Toronto gets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Toronto's like, yo, a lot of noise. And so he left. And the promoter was like, pissed because they had already gave him the fucking bread.
I don't even want to
But the place was already packed. And there was already celebs in there. So whatever. Fuck it.
Wow.
So the reason why I asked you that question is, I know hearing that if you're talking like that, if Kanye West fronts you and you spicy and you talking back to him, who else in Toronto did you talk back to like that? Who else was Toronto fronting on you? Do you have a story of that?
I'm not a confrontational dude unless you want to take it there.
Sure.
And not in this part of my life, I'm definitely not confrontational. Even if you want to take it there.
But in the past, like anybody get spicy with you, like who didn't know who you were fully?
Because I'm sure DJs.
Nah, because when we pulled up like three navigators deep anywhere we went. So it was like, it didn't matter if you knew who we were or not.
So nobody was like,
12 to 15 motherfuckers there. So it's like, you're not going to really talk spicy. And that's crazy because we're not really those guys either. We're not super street.
Yeah.
Like, at no means am I saying we were super street fucking like street bangers. Like, no, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, but people didn't like, because people would be like, yo, play my record. Like, you didn't have artists and their entourage like try to.
Yeah, and those are probably super street individuals, and I can assess a situation. And I know where it's worth it to be. But like, if you're coming on some super disrespectful shit on the first run, then it might be met with like a little bit of, it might become a confrontational situation. But if I can avoid that, and if you come like, yo, we're in here, yo, play our record, and I already see what it is, I'm like, you know what? At that point in time, I'm like, it could turn into a thing where the whole club is done.
Yeah,
and I'm getting bread here. So if it means like, and the shit ain't super weak and it's a decent record, and we can play it for a minute, it makes them happy, they're gonna buy some bottles, they're gonna have a good time, especially if you're blessing a man with some bread. If you came with bread, and you're like, yo, bomb, here's at least a couple brown boys, nothing crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, bet, we'll play your record.
Absolutely.
Now, I heard, earlier we're playing some boom bop, and I heard your bumper you had really, really hard, and I know you felt the boom bop. Which boom bap, whatever, boom bop, boom bap.
Crazy that we call it that, but
whatever. Whatever. Please don't crucify me on the internet. Please don't do it.
He said boom bop.
Boom bap. Please don't crucify me. I'm sorry. I'm a little slizzard today. I'm a little slizzard already. But anywho, do you like the direction Toronto's going? In terms of the music, the sound, do you like what we're doing right now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I wish there was less politics, and I wish there was less street shit. I mean, if we could separate that a little bit, it would be better for everybody, because the street shit's gonna put road bumps in the end game, like what we're all trying to accomplish is to get put on, right? Mm-hmm. So I wish that motherfuckers weren't dying and like nobody's like net banging. I'd rather that be out of the picture and it just really be about the music. But, we're in a state of hip hop where entertainment sells and people like violence. Like, mankind is attracted to violence. Mm-hmm. You feel me? That's Rambo. That's Terminator. We're just seeing that iteration of that in hip hop now, but it's not fictional.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's real. And that kind of sucks.
All right. Well,
not to be on some somber shit.
No. We all got ops.
No, fuck that. The only ops I have is a tax man. The only ops I have is tax man. Leave me alone.